Welcome to Second Chance Youth Ranch TV. Don't go away. On this show, we're going to talk about school choice and special funding for you and your family. We'll be right back with Emmy Henley. Welcome to Second Chance Youth Ranch TV. I'm your host, Perry Black, and on this show we have a very special guest all the way from Little Rock.
Yes, sir.
Emmy Henley, who is with the Reform Alliance, and she's been on the show before. Matter of fact, the last time you were on the show, how many months ago was that, do you guess? We know, sort of, because you had a baby. How old's the baby?
So he is 14 months old, so
Oh,
it had to be a little bit longer than that.
Wow, that seemed like just a few months ago.
I know, it goes quick.
Yeah, time travels fast when you're having fun. So you've got a 14-month-old?
Yes, sir.
Little boy. Mm-hmm. And when you were here before, he was still in the bake shop.
Yes.
And but you're with Reform Alliance. Mm-hmm. Just for our audience, this segment, we always get to know our guests, but tell us a little bit, who founded Reform Alliance? What is it for? What do you do?
Okay, great. Laurie Lee actually started the Reform Alliance, so she is my mother.
She's the grandmother of a 14-month-old?
Yes. And then two others as well. So
okay.
She's got a lot of little boys running around. And we focus on K-12 education in the state of Arkansas.
Why did Laurie Lee found Reform Alliance?
Yeah, so we experienced the need for different education environments as I was growing up. My little sister and I were both in a traditional public school. We went to a small private school. We were homeschooled, and then she eventually graduated from a charter school as well. So we've tried it all, and Laurie saw the need for that with families that may not know that those options are out there. So that really drove her passion to start the Reform Alliance.
Reform Alliance, 501c3 of some kind?
Yes, sir. Mm-hmm. We're a nonprofit.
For those who don't know what all those letters and initials are for, that means it's a nonprofit,
yes,
tax-deductible organization.
Mm-hmm.
So people could donate still to Reform Alliance?
Yes, so we accept donations for the Reform Alliance, but mostly we focus on donations for the scholarship.
All right, so tell us a little bit, Emmy, about the scholarships, because Reform Alliance originally was involved, which we participated in at Arkansas Christian Academy, with Succeed Scholarship, which some viewers may or may not be even aware those exist. So tell us a little bit about the scholarship program that y'all are responsible for and how that has kind of morphed or blended into the new LEARNS Act and EFA.
Absolutely. So the Succeed Scholarship, which you all participated in, was essentially absorbed into the new Education Freedom Account program, which was created by the LEARNS Act.
So tell me about Succeed Scholarship so that folks will have kind of a frame of reference of who was participated in the Succeed Scholarship. What were the guidelines?
Mm-hmm. So if you participated in the Succeed Scholarship, you had to have a diagnosis under the Individuals with Disabilities Education Act, be in a group foster home or facility, or you had to be a dependent of an active duty military member. So all of those categories are still eligible for the Education Freedom Account, and anyone who participated in the Succeed Scholarship last year was able to then renew and participate this year in the Education Freedom Account.
Yeah, some folks that, like everybody doesn't watch the news, doesn't pay attention. Of course, then it depends what news do you watch. But the LEARNS Act and EFA kind of was spearheaded in most recent legislation by our governor. Mm-hmm. And we were at the ribbon cutting. I suspect I probably saw you there at the Capitol.
Yes, sir.
I think I did. But it was really designed to incorporate everyone that was already in the Succeed Scholarship. So tell us again who those are, because they are now eligible or will become eligible by 2025 for the EFA and the LEARNS Act, or basically, if we just kind of did the little squiggly fingers, school choice, mm-hmm, which you had growing up.
Yes, yes, thankfully for my mom. So in the 23-24 school year, anyone who previously participated in the Succeed Scholarship last year is now eligible for the EFA program. Anyone who has a diagnosis under the Individuals with Disabilities Education Act.
Can you tell us what some of those diagnoses are, like IEP 504, dyslexia,
Generally,
some of
it's
those?
someone who would have an IEP in the public school district. So
Folks don't know what IEP stands for, do you? I'm
an
not sure.
individualized education plan.
Which means they might need someone to read something to them because they have a little trouble
It
processing.
varies. Yeah, it just means they might need a little extra help in
Little
the
extra
education
time
setting.
even, yeah.
So dyslexia qualifies. If they have autism, I mean, it varies, and we are able to help with that. We have a list of everything that qualifies.
Yeah.
And then if you were ever in the foster care system, you now qualify for the Education Freedom Account.
Can you explain that? When you say ever, that means someone who was in foster care and is now back with their biological family, they can still qualify?
Yes, if they're back with their biological family, or if they've been adopted by someone outside of their biological family, if they were ever in the foster care system, they qualify for the
So all
EFA.
adoptive children would qualify under the EFA, the LEARNS Act?
Now, as long as they were in the foster care system.
okay.
If they were adopted from another family member or something like that, that does not
Still
qualify.
they had to be in the foster system or
Yes, sir.
state funded, really? Okay. So in this segment, we got about 2 minutes. So let's talk about you a little bit, since we kind of teased you a little bit about being a new mom. What's that like being a new mom? 14 months. You get much sleep?
No, I do not. It's exciting. I enjoy spending time with him. So it makes everything that I do for work a little bit more real. And we have a good time. He's learning to talk now. He started walking after his first birthday.
Has he learned no?
He shakes his head a lot.
Yeah. So now your mom was in the Navy.
Yes, sir.
She was an explosive expert of some kind.
Yes, explosive ordnance device diver, I think
She
is
worked
the
with
title.
dolphins and all that kind of stuff.
Yes, sir.
And she said she couldn't talk about it on air. She'd have to kill me. But so were you raised as a Navy child? Was she still active when you were born?
No, she was in for 4 years, and then she, I guess, left the year that I was born, and then my dad was also in the military.
Where were you born?
When?
Where?
Oh, San Diego.
San Diego. So that's a Navy. That's a Navy base.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Where'd you go to high school?
High school, I was in Northwest Arkansas, so in the Fayetteville area. I went to Fayetteville Christian, and then I was also homeschooled for part of it.
You like Christian school?
I did.
Did y'all have
yes.
to wear uniforms?
Oh, yes.
Did you like them?
No comment.
Yeah, we got 500 kids here at ACA today on this campus, and the one thing they do not like, besides me, is uniforms. They just don't like
It made it
uniforms.
much easier to get ready in the morning, so I will say that that was an advantage.
Yeah, it's like Granables for adults. The thing about uniforms, though, is it does make it easier. My wife picks out my clothes, so I'm sort of in a uniform.
That's the way to do it.
So did you go to college somewhere?
I did not.
You did
no.
not.
Mm-mm.
But you've been able to become reasonably successful without a college education?
I believe so.
You know, I was watching the other day, I was reading some material, electricians, plumbers, carpenters, mechanics, welders, none of them have college educations, and they make a really good income. So there's still a place in America to make a living with your hands. We're going to take a break from this discussion, come back with Emmy here in a little bit and talk more about the EFA, the LEARNS Act, on how you as a mom or dad can be involved in school choice for yours. We'll be right back.
A mission field around you is filled with young hearts needing a forever family. And at Second Chance Youth Ranch, our team is committed to providing healthy, stable, loving homes and families to hurting children in the Arkansas foster care system and those up for adoption. Please contact us if you feel the tug at your heart to help foster or adopt, and find out the steps you could take to help fulfill a child's lifelong dream. Maybe you can't foster or adopt, but you could help. The need for thousands of children in the system is staggering. But with the help of faithful partners and business alliances, we are meeting those needs right now. Would you help us make a difference? Every gift, regardless of size, impacts a child's life directly and helps provide for a home in the gap right now. Visit the Second Chance Youth Ranch website at 2CYR.org to read more, watch the stories, and to make a contribution for a hurting child's care. Monthly partners are needed, so please contact us right away. And as you partner with this ministry, you are partnering with the Heavenly Father that has promised to be Father to the fatherless. God bless you for helping Second Chance Youth Ranch.
Welcome back to Second Chance Youth Ranch TV. If you're just joining us, where have you been? Our special guest on this show is Emmy Henley. She's with Reform Alliance, and we're going to talk to you about school choice. Emmy, you're a mom of a 14-month-old. Don't you think that you're the one person, along with your husband, that should make the choice of where and how your child is educated?
Absolutely. I believe that myself and his father have his best intentions in mind always. So
Always thinking about what's best for my child. And you know the way I feel about it, what's best for your child may be best for many children. Right now, today, I don't like to time our shows, but I'm going to give it away. Right now in Virginia, around the nation, and actually 4 different states, there's some pretty significant elections going on. And in Virginia, they have just basically flipped that whole state from a very liberal state to a very conservative state. It's because that governor is pro-life and pro-school choice. And I think Americans are waking up to the reality that moms and dads and guardians are probably, if not definitely, the best individuals to make decisions when it comes to the choices that in regards to education for their kids and every other decision, frankly.
absolutely.
So as a new mom, are you beginning to process what it means to be a mom, and you thinking about the world we're living in and how to raise your child? How are you going to do that?
Oh, that is a very good question. I don't know. I think I'm just going to, protect him as best I can and prepare him for everything that he's going to face in the world. It's
All right,
a
so
lot.
let's talk about life choices, Emmy.
Oh, okay.
What about really eternal choices? Do you take him to Sunday school?
Yes, we actually attend a church in Conway.
Well, let's give him a little advertising. Where do you attend church?
We attend New Life.
New Life Church. Well, we don't like them.
That's okay.
I'm going to tell you my story. Rick Bazette and his lovely wife, Michelle, came to see me because we have mutual friends in the ministry, and was praying about where to start a church. And he came to us because we've been doing it for a little while, and he said, how have you done this, and how did you decide to do this? And we were just talking, as ministers do, and he was praying about 3 different places to start a church. Have you heard that story from Rick?
I have not.
Well, I'm going to tell you.
All right.
And he said, we're praying about maybe Atlanta, maybe Florida, where he has a brother, Randy, who's down there, and or Conway. And I said, well, I have dear friends, actually board members, that live in Conway. They've been driving to Bryant from Conway twice on Sunday and on Wednesday, and they are praying that God would use me to start a church in Conway, and I don't want to. So I'm praying that you start a church in Conway, not Florida and not Georgia. And a few months passed, and they started New Life Church. And if you're watching, they're doing pretty good.
I believe so, yes.
Do you have any idea how many campus churches New Life has?
I do not. I am new
I
there.
think it's about 26.
That is quite a few.
And they're doing really well. They're impacting our state. And so if you go to New Life, you're all right. Is that where your mama goes?
Yes, we all go in Conway because it's in the middle of where we all live, so it's much easier.
So tell me a little bit about now what's happened with Reform Alliance and Succeed Scholarship since the governor and the legislature passed the EFA. EFA stands for what again?
The Education Freedom Accounts. So the Reform Alliance no longer runs the Succeed Scholarship. It was absorbed into the Education Freedom Accounts, but we are still a scholarship granting organization for the Philanthropic Investment in Arkansas Kids Scholarship, which you can now stack with that. So that is available to families who are 200% or below of the federal poverty guidelines, which is around $55,000 for a family of 4, and then they have to meet another eligibility criteria, which is either enrolling in schools for the first time, which means kindergarten, or moving in from out of state. They had to be in public school full-time for at least half the previous school year, or they have a diagnosis under the Individuals with Disabilities Education Act.
All right, so in the first segment, I interrupt you, like I warned you I always will, because if I don't interrupt you, I forget what I'm going to ask you.
No problem.
And since it's not scripted, I have to ask. But you said in 23-24, which is the school term we're in right now, tell us again who qualified, and are those scholarships, any of those still available?
Yes, we still have the applications open for the philanthropic scholarship, and then the education freedom accounts, I believe, will be open until mid-January. So the education freedom accounts are available to anyone who was on the Succeed Scholarship last year, anyone who is a dependent of active duty military.
Active military, that's key, because that's going to change here in the next year or two.
Yes, sir.
All right, so.
Anyone who has been in the foster care system, anyone who is entering kindergarten for the first time, anyone who is in an F-rated public school or a level 5 school district.
I'm not going to ask specifics, but are there some F-rated schools in Arkansas?
Yes, sir.
That's sad. That's why we need school choice.
Yes, sir.
Kids in failing schools fail.
Yes.
I met with Warren Stevens many years ago about Second Chance Youth Ranch, and he said, in your program, will you teach children to read? Because if you cannot read, you cannot succeed. Isn't that true?
Yes.
All right, so in 24-25, which will be the fall coming up after the airing of this show, the fall of 24, who then, in addition to those who already qualify, who else will then qualify 24-25?
Okay, it then expands to anyone in a D-rated public school, anyone who is the dependent of a first responder, and then anyone who is the dependent of a veteran or reservist military member.
Even a reservist.
Yes, sir.
And when you say emergency responder, who all does that include?
So we actually had a call with the Department of Education, Daryl Smith, who runs the program, and they have not specifically defined that yet. So they are still waiting on the rules process to pass before we know those details.
Let's hypothesize. Don't hold it against her. We're just talking amongst ourselves. That'd be a fireman probably, right?
I would assume so.
You would
Police
think
officers.
maybe a police officer, paramedic, people that arrive at accidents on the highways, that kind of stuff, probably.
I would assume so, yes.
Daryl Smith's doing a good job.
Yes.
Took on a truckload, didn't he?
Yes, it was a lot.
Yeah. And during this process, because I'm the administrator of Arkansas Christian Academy, you and I talked many times because I immediately, when there's a question or someone asks me questions, I fire off a text to your mom and she says, I'll have Emmy call you. And I will tell you this, since we're on air and because I like you, I hang up the phone with my staff and I say, Emmy is really a genius. When it comes to
I appreciate that.
When it comes to what you're involved in, there's so many moving parts and so many, like even the responders, there's still so many open questions but you're really on top of things. And we here at Arkansas Christian Academy, we really appreciate that. We hope and pray that you're learning something of how you can make a choice of where your child attends school. We're going to take a brief break, watch a video. We'll be back with Emmy.
If I could have one dream, it would be having a nice family.
My name is Adise. I am 11.
I'm Tashiana and I am 10.
I'm Rashad and I am 8. What I like to do for fun is play football. My favorite football team is the Chiefs.
I like to play with toys.
What I like to do for fun is play with my Legos.
My brother, he is so funny. I always ask him some questions. And my sister, she's a nice one.
What I love about both of my brothers is that they're always funny and they're playful all the time.
My brother, he's always playful. Then my sister, she's nice. And she makes me laugh too.
I make funny faces and he starts giggling.
I'm sorry.
I want a family that can understand us, how much we have handled, we have gone through.
I want a family that we can go on trips, go to a football game, and go hiking.
I want a family so I can go on trips, and I want a good family.
We wish to find a very good home so we can be safe and have fun there.
Hey, welcome back to Second Chance Youth Ranch. If you've ever watched this show, you know, coming back to this segment, I always say, did you have to break out the Kleenex when you watched that video with all those wonderful smiling faces of young people that some are in our care, some are in foster care around the state, and those wonderful videos are shared with us with DCFS permission by Project Zero, Christy Irwin. And it is such a blessing to be in partnership and networking with other foster care agencies like Second Chance Youth Ranch. And the reason we have Emmy on is, number one, is because the EFA and the LEARNS Act allows special funding for school choice for those in foster care, which impacts us at Second Chance Youth Ranch. We've just recently dedicated a new house in Saline County. We now have approximately 54, give or take, on any given day, 54 to 60 foster children. And so we're have really been engaged in Succeed Scholarship. Cannot tell you and your mom, who I call Lori, but her name is Laurie. Is that right? How you
Yes,
say it?
sir.
Well, I just totally slaughtered that. But my name's Perry, so I go by Terry, Perry, Larry, Jerry, Gary. Just call, I'll respond. But you guys have been such a help to us and to our foster children, not to mention all the other foster children around the state, and we truly appreciate that. Now, we mentioned earlier the philanthropic scholarship that you and your mom's organization are still involved in, and there's a tax credit for people who donate. So somewhere magically, if we can use the word magic on a Christian TV show, somewhere on the screen it's going to give information. So how do people donate? What's the donation for? And tell us more about the scholarship and who would qualify through the philanthropic.
Okay, absolutely. So the donation process can go through our office. We have a link on our website where you can do it online. You can do an ACH process, or you can do a pay by check.
Is there a website somewhere?
Yes, thereformalliance.org. And all of those funds go to scholarships for low-income families. So
And they would qualify for approximately how much? Is it based on their income, or is it a standard amount of scholarship?
it's a standard amount, or their tuition and fees, whichever is less. So for a K through 8 student, it's around $5,900, and then for a 9th through 12th student, it's around $6,600.
And those monies can go toward homeschool?
Nope, it's only for private school tuition and fees.
Okay, only private schools.
Yes, sir.
Now the EFA, some of those funds though do go to homeschooling cost, correct?
Those will start next year. So in
year.
the 24-25 school year, you would be able to use it for homeschool, micro schools, things like that. Yes.
Do you have any idea? Okay, you want to finish the sentence?
Oh no, you're fine.
I just want to know if you had an idea. Do you have any idea why, and I think I know, but maybe the audience would ask, why did the EFA choose and the state choose to phase in this LEARNS Act over 3 stages?
I do not know the answer to that. I can speculate that they wanted to make sure that everything was in place, and if they phase it out, it's less overwhelming for the system as a whole. As you know, the Succeed Scholarship was already limited by funding, so it capped out at around 900 students, and the Education Freedom Account expanded to 7,000 the first year, so a huge jump. And then the second year, it will be 14,000. So I think they're just trying to make sure everything is
Instead of taking on the
set.
big elephant, the principle of eating an elephant one bite at a time rather than taking it all on at once.
Exactly.
And we learned, I pray that Arkansas was learning from different states like Iowa and others,
Arizona.
Arizona, that had a model of how you can implement. Out of the 7,000 scholarships, do you know approximately how many have been taken this school term, 23-24?
Yes, from our call, he said that they have awarded, I believe, 5,500 and 5,000 have been funded. So they're still working through some of those processes. And then the applications are still open until mid-January.
So people could still apply receive funding and actually choose a new school following the Christmas break.
Yes, sir.
If they can be accepted. All right, so 24-25, tell us again who qualifies, then we're going to jump 25-25, because in 25-25, everyone would qualify.
Yes, all K-12 students in Arkansas qualify in the 25-26 school year. 24-25 expands to veterans, reservists, military members, and then anyone who is in a D-rated public school, along with everyone that qualifies now.
And the scholarship, numerically, how much is the scholarship currently?
I believe it's around $6,672.
Goes up just a little bit in 24-25.
Generally, it is based on a funding amount that is in the budget, but it's 90% of the foundation funding. So in the past, that has always gone up. So it would probably.
So can you tell me approximately how much the public school receives from state funding? It's about 11,000 something, correct?
I think that's the average across the state.
Yeah.
I think the foundation funding that this amount is based on was $7,413.
Yeah. So the public school, does the public school lose money?
They will a year later, I believe is how the funding works. That's
And that's one of the controversial issues, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
So I don't believe that it necessarily uses the public school funding, but they will, because they've lost that student, lose funding the following school year.
So if you don't want to lose funding, don't lose your students. If you don't want to lose your students, do your job. My
Yes,
daughter
sir.
is a public school teacher, and I was just speaking to a gentleman. We're getting ready to pack 100,000 meals at the church for the poor for the holidays, and his wife is a public school teacher, and he said they just keep dumping on more and more things that don't have a direct relationship to educating the child. That's what frustrates my daughter. And any business, and I own businesses, any business that doesn't do its business well loses its customers. And in our society, competition makes everybody better, and those who don't improve, you know, Wally Offset here, we reserve the right to get better, and if you don't get better, we'll take your kids right here at Arkansas Christian Academy. So we're excited about the things that are happening in the education in the state of Arkansas. We're thankful for our governor and our legislators. We're thankful for your mother and you and all that y'all do every day in the trenches, because we know in the trenches it's challenging. The old saying, which I know all my sayings are old, it's the pioneers who get the arrows. And everybody don't like us, but we're not in a popularity contest. We want you to be involved in your children's education like Emmy, not only physical and natural education, but their spiritual education. We also want you to get involved in changing the world one heart and one life at a time through fostering, mentoring, adopting. We'd love to be an agency to help you open your home and open your heart to children in crisis. So why don't you reach out to us right here at Second Chance Youth Ranch TV or 2CYR.org, and we'll see you next week right here.